All right, welcome everyone to episode number 2 of Mid-Table Talk. Hope you guys listened to the first one. If not, I would recommend going back and doing so. I'm Mikey at Matchday365 on Twitter. Give me a follow. I'm with Amesy at CPFC Ames and Leon at Leon Deprelli _. Me and Amesy, we're Crystal Palace fans. Leon is a West Ham fan, but today, none of that matters. It's going to be about the English national team. So I'll let you two do the talking for now, since you guys are the natives.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you haven't picked it up already, Mikey obviously is not English. He is American. So it'll be interesting to have that view on things, from like an outsider's perspective. But yeah, with the Euros coming up and the squad announcement coming up, we've decided to put together a 23-man squad, just like Gareth Southgate will have to do. And basically, we're going to go through it position to position and, debate the ones that we disagree on and hopefully come up with a combined squad which will be good enough to win it.
Yeah. All right. So I think we should just get started in the back with the goalkeeper. I don't think there's going to be too much debate with this one. So we'll say our 3 that we have. I'm guessing we all have 3. And then our 1 starting keeper. So my 3 are Nick Pope, Jordan Pickford, and Sam Johnston. And I have Nick Pope starting as of right now. So I'll let.
Wow. Well, I thought this would be like a position where we just completely agree on stuff. Like, I don't know. I thought the obvious 3 were Pope. Obviously, Pope's starting for me. I think he's brilliant. But then Pickford and Henderson, Dean Henderson, are my other 2.
Okay.
I can see why you've gone for Johnston.
That's really interesting because we all 3 of us have different 3s.
I've got Darlow. I bet you got Darlow.
No. I've got Pope, Henderson, and Johnston. I've left out obviously the 2018 World Cup starting keeper Jordan Pickford, and I'm starting with Pope in between the 6. I think. Are you starting with Pope as well?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So we've all got the same starting keeper, which is good. But it looks like 2 of us have Henderson, 2 of us have Johnson, and 2 of us have Pickford.
Right, I would like to say one thing, right? When it comes to international tournaments, there's much you don't necessarily pick around form, because it's just all different on the international stage. It's a different type of competition. They're playing with different players, they're playing against different players, different styles of teams. So I think even when people are out of form, I think if they've got experience and they've been good in the international stage, then they should stay in the team, which is why I've got Pickford and also Henderson, because he was so good last season. I think he's proven himself to be a brilliant keeper. So that's why Johnston or Darlow or anyone else doesn't make the 3 for me.
I want to clarify. Is this going to be our, like, the squad that we would want to have, or the squad that we think that there is going to see? If we did a squad that I think that will be the squad, then I would have Henderson. But I personally would have Sam Johnston.
No, it's basically England have said we want an American manager, so that they brought you in.
Cool.
And it's basically it's your tactics, your lineup, your squad. And I do think he'll pick Pope, Pickford, Henderson. But so we both agree on Pope. We can get that out of the way.
Yeah.
I think Pickford has to go in. I think he has to go in. He's great with his feet. He was great in the last World Cup. I don't rate him too highly as a keeper, but he has international experience, which the others don't. For that reason, I think he has to be in the squad. Short back and stomping.
Yeah, I think if you went with that, I don't think Pickford's going to start, and I don't think Pickford's going to play. So I think if you went with that mentality that keep him in because of his performances in the last World Cup, then you'd never see the likes of Sam Johnston and Dean Henderson say come into the squad if you were going to go with Johnson or Henderson or whichever one you want to go with. I think giving those players the experience is very important, as well as say keeping the experienced players in the squad. And I think Jordan Pickford's performances in the last couple seasons have not warranted him a place in this squad. And I think when you look at players like Johnson and like Henderson, as Ainsley, you said, Henderson was fantastic last season and has looked solid since he came in for United in the Cups this season. He's looked actually really good, and I think it's time that maybe United should start looking at him coming in for De Gea permanently. I just think that Pickford is a level below these other keepers, and that's why he doesn't make my squad.
I think you also have to think about how England play. We're going to be much more footballing side than, well, Burnley, for example, but also Henderson. He's played the majority of his games for Sheffield United, obviously, because he hasn't played many for United. So he hasn't necessarily experienced much playing out the back. Pickford's distribution is much better, and that suits this England team. So that's why I think he should be in the squad. But should we try and decide on the three? Obviously, with Pope locked in.
If we have we all have Pope, and then we have two of Johnston, and then you two. Oh, but we have two of Pickford and two of Henderson, right?
Yeah,
let's
let's
just drop one. Let's decide to drop one. I would drop Johnston personally.
I would drop Pickford. I guess I would drop Pickford.
We've already said it would drop, I guess, but
I would like to add something, Aimsy, that you did mention that England are going to be a much more footballing side than Burnley, Sheffield United, and West Brom are, and I think that goes without saying. But I also think that you don't have Pope as your starting keeper. I don't have Pope as my starting keeper, and neither does Pickford. Sorry, not Pope, Pickford. None of us have Pickford as our starting keeper, which means Pickford isn't necessarily going to be playing on the ball and doesn't need to be good on the ball. I think it's for me a more of experience. For me, it's more of an experience thing.
But what if Pope was to get injured, then he would be on. That's the whole reason for having the backup keepers.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Not to mention his prowess with penalties as well in a knockout competition.
Yeah, I do see what you mean, but for me, I think I'd go with maybe Henderson or Johnston as our backup. I think Henderson is quite good on the ball anyway. Maybe not as good as Pickford is, but as a backup keeper, I'd go with Henderson. But I mean, it's going to be tough. I don't know who we want to. Maybe we should all say out of the other two, who would we want to keep? Maybe, or if you order, say Henderson, your two that you've got other than Pope, and then it will be whoever's got the most in last. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you say who your first,
Henderson,
second, and third.
I've got Henderson below Pickford. Basically, we all know we're keeping Pope, so it's between the other three. So I've got Henderson as the bottom one for me.
I've got Johnston as the bottom one.
Okay. So realistically, it's whoever I have as ahead in the as the Henderson or Johnston who gets dropped. Okay, I'm gonna have to say that I'd go with Dean Henderson over Sam Johnston, which means it's Sam Johnston who's getting dropped from the combined team, right? And Pickford. So our three keepers are Pope, Henderson, Pickford.
Yeah,
good start. It took longer than I thought on that one. I thought that, as I said, I thought that'd be such an easy one.
I know that was a long.
I thought that would be easy, and I thought this next one would be very hard with the right backs.
Yeah, I guess we'll move on to right back. Leon, you want to go first with the right backs?
Yeah. Okay. So I've got kind of 2/3 right backs in the team, and I think I'll leave the conversation as to the third one because we'll go down and I'm guessing you two have two right backs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'll Aimsy, how many have you got?
I've got 3.
Okay, right. I'll go with the full.
One's versatile.
Fullback conversation? Yeah, can we go with the full fullback conversation to start rather than?
Okay, well let's make it easy to start with the left backs. I've gone for Shaw and Chilwell.
I've gone with Shaw, and then a couple backups of Kieran Trippier and another backup of Ben Godfrey. And you'll see why
Ben Godfrey's made your squad.
I have,
and I've got reasons for why I've gone for that and later on. But he comes under the centre back umbrella.
What? He hasn't even got a cap.
No, I know. So they got to get a first time for everything.
Ben Godfrey, are you serious?
You'll see why. It's the versatility that Godfrey offers. He's played half his games for centre back for Everton, half his games for left back. And statistically, he's a better defender than most of the fullbacks that we've got. And I think I would like to play in my back four with an advanced right back and then a much less advanced left back, attacking wise anyway. And that's why I've gone for Godfrey and Trippier as backup left backs, because they tend to be more defensive left backs.
So you're not taking Chilwell?
No, I'm not taking Chilwell. No, I think Thomas Tuchel's come in and dropped him immediately. He doesn't offer that.
He has played. He's played a few games for
yeah,
Tuchel.
He's played a couple, but he started Alonso over him in the majority of games. I think he doesn't have that many expected assists, 1.1. He's not that good going forward. His shot creating actions are the worst of my 4 or 5 options of left back that I had down.
You can't just look at like stats from the Prem, because this is the England national team, and you're going to be playing the likes of Ben Godfrey against players like Mbappe, the world superstars. I think you need someone who's played in the Champions League for Chelsea and has proven himself more on the international stage. And I do wish him the best in the England under-21 Euros kicking off in March, but he should be nowhere near the England team, I don't think. And I like him, and I do appreciate his versatility as well.
I think that's his versatility is the main reason that I've got him in. But so my fullbacks are Shaw, Trippier, with Godfrey as a potential backup left back, but mainly as a centre back. And then I've gone Trent Alexander-Arnold and Reece James as the 2 right backs. I don't know. You guys go first, and then I'll.
No Walker. Wait. Okay. Right. I've gone for James Walker, and Trent as well, and then I've gone for Kyle Walker. He can play right back. He can play left back. He can play centre back in a 3. Unbelievable versatility. You're putting Ben Godfrey in over him. That is an outrageous shout. Walker was brilliant for us at the last World Cup. He's brilliantly versatile. He's rapid. He's got more experience than almost anyone in the squad. He's had a good season. He's Premier League winner how many times? Absolutely no way am I allowing Ben Godfrey to get in the side over him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest, Walker wasn't really in the contention for me as a left back, which maybe I overlooked. I mean, Kyle Walker wasn't really, but we'll see. Mikey, who have you got as your fullback?
I have Chilwell on the left, and I'll just go with all my fullbacks. So I have Chilwell. I actually don't really have a backup left back. I have Saka, and then I have Kyle Walker, who I think can play there. So my fullbacks are Chilwell, Kyle Walker, Kieran Trippier, and then I have Saka, who can play left back if need be. But I couldn't take anybody else off my list, so I left it at that because I wanted.
But no Trent.
No Trent.
What?
You two are
He's not good
mad.
defensively. He's literally not good defensively. Like he's not even average.
He isn't good. He isn't on good form. But last season, everyone was saying he's the best right back in the world. I mean, he at least makes the squad, especially if we want to try out the 3 back.
Also, I mean, he may not be that good defensively, but he has the best. Like in terms of tackling people dribbling at him, he is the best out of all of our right backs. Even better than Aaron Wan-Bissaka is. He's got 59% of the dribblers that come at him, he tackles. And that's the best stat of all of our fullbacks. I think even though Trent can be suspect defensively, he is a fantastic player, and he's really good on the ball as well.
Let's try and lock some in. Can we all agree on Chilwell? I know you didn't have him, Leon, but the other 2 do.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, and the other left back, Mikey doesn't have him, but we both have Shaw.
Yeah, I mean,
Shaw. I was considering Shaw. I didn't put him in, but I'm fine.
I think he's been really. I think he's had a really good season. I'd actually start him in my team.
I'm starting Luke Shaw as well over any of the other fullbacks.
We'll lock those 2 in. Are you right? Is someone noting this down as well?
Yeah, I've got it.
So then,
we've our 2 left backs are Shaw and Chilwell, right?
Mm.
Right backs.
So we've all got Reece James, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, Mikey, who have you got a right back?
Kyle Walker and Trippier.
So I've got Walker as well. I think Walker has to.
But me and Mikey both have Trippier, and me and Ainsley both have Trent, and me and Ainsley both have Reece James, which means really we need 2.
So does nobody else have Kyle Walker?
No, I've got Walker.
Yeah, Ainsley does. We need to drop 2 of Walker, James, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and.
No, I don't think we need to drop 2. I think we can run with 3 right backs and 2 left backs.
Yeah, we can run with 3. See, I'll explain my Trippier. It's because I think he was really, really good for Atletico this season, and obviously when he was playing, they were one of the best teams in Europe, and they still are. But I mean, I don't know. I think I just like his balance more than Trent. That's why I included him.
I really like the shout of Trippier. Even though I didn't put him in, I was really considering it. He can play right, he can play left. He was great in the last World Cup, so he knows the system, he knows the squad. He's a more experienced head in the dressing room, and as you say, he's been great for Atletico. So I'd be happy to put him in, and I know you boys had him in. So should we lock him in?
Yeah, and then the second, then we've got to go with 2 of Trent, James, and Walker, right?
Right.
Personally, if we were to include 2 of those 3, I would include either Reece James or Trent, and then Walker. I think including one of the younger players.
I would put Walker over both right backs. I thought you did have Trent in yours.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. But I'm saying if I were to include two of those 3, I'd probably.
Do you not have Walker?
No, I do. I would include Trent or Reece James and then Walker. So I'd probably do Trent.
Okay.
I'd probably do Trent and Walker.
I mean,
so we go Walker then.
I think if you 2 are set on Walker, then that kind of overrides me, and then it's I guess me and Amesy to decide between Trent and Reece James as to who we'd rather have. And I mean, for me, that's really easy. I think Trent walked into the squad, and Reece James was kind of the last addition to this squad. It was between him and Kyle Walker for me. And so I guess we'll go with Trippier, Walker, and Alexander Arnold as a joint one. But
yeah, I think it's unfortunate for James. He has been so good, and he does offer us more balance there. But it's just he's suffering from the absolute incredible depth we've got at right back. If he was a left back, he'd probably be straight in the team. But that's interesting. It's also worth mentioning James Justin as well, who unfortunately tore his ACL the other day, but he would be in contention with his versatility.
I think he would probably get in my squad. I was having a look at it, and I think I'd have him in over Kieran Trippier.
Right.
So now that kind of left or right-sided fullback.
Let's do 3 center backs for now, and then at the end we'll figure out if we can add the 4th.
Exactly. We'll mention our other choices there, but I think Maguire and Stones have to go in there. I don't know if you both have them.
Mm-hmm. I had both.
Yeah, so they were the 2 easy ones for me.
And they start for me in that back 4.
Yeah,
having played together as well. Then this like 3rd and 4th centre back is really tough because you've got players like Mings, Konsa, Keane, Dyer, loads of players. But who do you always go for?
I went with Konsa because I think Mings has more talent, like natural ability, than Konsa, but he's so prone to the mistake, and you cannot play that way in a World Cup. I mean, one silly tackle, one bad decision, a giveaway, and that could cost you, big time in the World Cup. So, or not the World. Why am I saying World Cup at the Euros? My bad. And I have Konsa because I think with Maguire and Stones, you kind of need like a more athletic center back. And I think he gives you that, even though he wouldn't be starting for me. That's why I went with Konsa over. I also had Michael Keane, who I was considering as well. So.
Who was your 3rd choice then, Liam?
I'm ready to get properly slandered here. This is where it goes downhill. Okay, I've got 4 centre backs, Stones and Maguire, who start for me, and then Lewis Dunk and Ben Godfrey. They're my next 2 centre backs.
What? Lewis Dunk and Ben Godfrey. Done in the group stages, lad.
I can explain. I mean, I have reasons to back up why I've gone for that over, say, Konsa and Keane.
Well, I've gone Keane as my 3rd choice. So
I had Keane as my 4th. So
perhaps I was looking into Michael Keane, and he's got one of the worst one-on-one defensive statistics in the league. He only tackles 36.8% of people which dribble at him, which is in comparison to Godfrey's 68.4 and Dunk's 58.8. That he's got much worse passing accuracy than Dunk does. I mean, his passing is much less progressive with Dunk having 338.
You have to think about Brighton playing 6 centre backs and defending on the edge of their box a lot of the time, right? Whereas genuine. Whereas Keane's in an Everton team who play more expansive football, I'd say. So, which is more like the kind of football that England would play. And you quote those stats, but he's still having a good season, I think, and he has been solid there for them. I think anyone who watched him would see that he has actually been good for them.
Yeah, I have watched him, and I agree. And I also think that Lewis Dunk has been really good this season. I think anybody that isn't maybe a Palace fan would tell you that Lewis Dunk is on the edge of the England squad, if not in it. I mean, he's top for successful pressures out of the English centre half. He's got the most interceptions, and his passing, as you say, Brighton do play, say, more defensively. That I think they play with that back three, and then Veltman as a right wing back and March as a left wing back, I think, most of the time. But Dunk's
aren't you playing a 4-4-2?
Yeah, I am playing a 4-4-2, but Dunk's played in a back four quite a lot, just not this season. And I think Dunk's passing is the most progressive out of all of our centre halves, apart from, I think, Maguire. And his passing's fantastic as well. His passing accuracy is the second best behind Stones. So I think for me, Dunk is really good on the ball, and he's a class centre half, much better one-on-one than Michael Keane is. So that's why he made it in over Keane for me. He's got better passing stats and better one-on-one defensive stats. I think maybe as Palace fans, you might overlook him more than you should.
This isn't my point in the argument, but have you seen the video of him in England training against Marcus Rashford in the one-on-one drill? Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
I have seen it, but I mean, he's played Marcus Rashford and many other players in the Premier League and done well. So. Yeah, those are my four centre backs. But I mean, the more I looked into Michael Keane, the less his stats seemed to back up my opinions of him when I first watched him, and I consider him, James Tarkowski and Lewis Dunk and Konsa to all be similar level centre halves. Konsa I ruled out just because I mean, I would happily have Konsa in the team. It was really close between him and Godfrey for me, but I just preferred Godfrey just because he's a little bit better one-on-one. But other than that,
to run through that team, to run through those players quickly, I'd say Konsa's better than Mings. I won't go for Mings. I think Konsa's too young, personally, I think, to be playing for England. I think you would at least like to see them having played in friendlies or qualifying before you just throw them into an England squad. So that's why, if I was given the job now, I wouldn't just chuck someone in who hasn't played at all. So that's why I've gone for Keane. And also Lewis Dunk as well has only got one cap. But I also want to mention my fourth centre-back, who I did not see myself putting in at all. But I think you'll find at home, if you were to do this, make your 23-man squad, you start to realise you need a certain type of player, and that's why I've gone for Eric Dyer. Okay, because he's got loads of experience, especially on the international stage. He's a passionate player, which would be great for the dressing room, especially when you're going abroad to a Euros. I know it's not all abroad, and he's also very versatile. So the reason I've got him in is that he can also play in the midfield, and he's playing in a team where he needs to be good on the ball as well. So that's why I've gone for Eric Dyer as my fourth man. But I think we need to move on from centre backs pretty quickly. So let's decide on a third man.
Oh God.
Yeah, I do like the points you brought up about Michael Keane, Leon, but I did have him fourth, and Ainsley had him third, so you might get overruled.
I'm going to get outvoted here, aren't I? I don't think any of you are going to go. I think the only thing I would say is that I if you're going to overrule me here, I'll accept it. He has been having a good season for Everton, but I would go maybe with Mikey's shout of Konsa even over Michael Keane, just because I think if we're going to prepare for future tournaments, I think getting players experience in the dressing room internationally and at these tournaments, like say what Southgate did with Rashford and Trent Alexander-Arnold at the 2018 World Cup, where he brought them, played them in the less important games, and then prepared us for the future tournaments where they would have already had that tournament experience. And I think that's why I'd take Konsa or Godfrey for me, who are both really young. And then I've obviously got Maguire and Stones with that tournament experience, who are loud in the dressing room anyway. So for me, it's going to be... I don't know. You're going to go with Keane, aren't you?
I don't want to work too much off form, really. If a player's been really good this season, obviously, that's great. But I think Keane's been doing it for a few years now, and he's been a solid centre-back. So let's just lock him in now. You can,
You've got fine. You can go with Keane, but I'm not happy about it.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Okay, we'll move into the midfield.
Yeah, I was going to say I think we should have 4 or 5 midfielders we all agree on. I don't know, Ames, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, well, I've gone for two defensive midfielders. I've gone for Rice and Henderson, who I expect you would both agree with. Yeah, you both do. So that's an easy one. We'll stick those in. Yeah, both great. They actually both start for me in a 4-2-3-1 as a pivot. I think they could work really well together. They've both got a good passing range, both vocal. Henderson would be my captain as well, over Kane, but that is what it is. And then I've kind of got some more attacking midfielders, but I don't know if you want to exactly move on to that yet. So who would play in your two of like a 4-2-3-1?
I also have. Wait, let's see. You said Rice and Henderson, right?
Yeah.
Those are my two, starting in 4-2-3-1. Leon,
yeah, it's the same with me. I also have one more kind of defensive midfielder in my squad. I don't know if you boys do. I've also got Calvin Phillips in the squad. Yeah. That's just as a backup in my as for one of those two, because I thought I needed somebody if Rice or Henderson goes down injured that could play in this 4-2-3-1.
That's why I stuck Eric Dyer in at centre back. I think he'd come in and do that role. But also,
Dyer was abysmal there for Spurs. He didn't get any games.
It wasn't that bad. He's played there for England in the Euros before, and he's done well.
Yeah, I know, but I remember at the World Cup, everyone hated him.
But also, my actual plan, if one of those DMs was to get injured, would be to then change from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3 with just one holder. So the one holding player who isn't injured would play holding midfield, and then I'd play Mason Mount, who just crept into my squad at the last minute after a change, next to Phil Foden as 2 8s. So I presume we've all got Foden and Grealish and stuff, but I don't even know how we want to do this.
I was just going to say, do we all have Grealish, Foden, and Mount?
Yes, but I would like to talk a bit on Mount, because Mount was the last of the attacking midfielders to come into my team. It was between him and Bukayo Saka as the last one, really, as what it came down to.
So.
And Harvey Barnes was in contention for that spot as well, actually. I think he's been really good this season, but I don't think he's quite creative enough for what the role that I'd like him to play in that three. And I think Mount is, and that's why Mount came in. But it's difficult. I mean, can we lock Rice and Henderson in as well?
Yeah, they're in. And Foden and Grealish you can put in as well. They can play central in that 4-2-3-1 or wide, kind of in both positions. I just want to touch on the Mount versus Saka debate, because that was, at first I had Saka in my first draft of the team. Then after about 5 days of thinking it over, I finally changed to Mount, and that reason is Saka's best position is on the right wing, personally, for me. I think he'd be much better there than anywhere else. And realistically, you've got Sancho. Obviously, we haven't said these players yet, but Sancho and Sterling would start over him at the right wing. So if one of those got injured, the other one would just play there. Realistically, I wouldn't play him if I took him. And I think Mount is a different prospect in that he brings a massive intensity to the midfield, and he'll play centrally in a slightly deeper role. And I just think we need him in the squad. And regardless, Southgate will take him as well. We all know that.
Yeah. So, Leon, you had Calvin Phillips also. And then Amesy, did you have any other midfield shouts, or is it just between Saka?
I also have James Maddison in my squad.
I do as well.
I think that's because I took one less defender than the rest of you, so I freed up.
You got him in the squad
for Maddison.
How's he get game time?
He doesn't really. He's more of a squad player in case things drop out. What do you mean? For who?
You said injury, like you said. But
I said if you're playing a 4-2-3-1 and Grealish goes down,
then I think I'd just play Foden there.
Yeah, I think it's just.
And then if Foden got injured, I'll just play Sancho there and have Grealish and Rashford on the wing. I just don't think he'll get used. That's why it's really unfortunate, because he's a great player, but I just think there are too many players of a similar profile who are better than him, which is why I don't think it should be taking up a space on the plane.
I do understand what you mean. I just think there's always players at every World Cup who maybe aren't looking like getting game time and are just there to fill up the numbers. And I think he's an attacking option, because I'm pretty sure you take all of your remaining 12 players on the bench, right? And then you can just use any of them. Is that right?
Yeah.
And I think it just he's a great option as a little creative midfielder. I think he's second best to Grealish in terms of creating chances. I think Foden probably is the better player, but I think if you were looking for that creative aspect and Grealish maybe moved out onto the left, if you were struggling to unlock a defence, then I think maybe Maddison will come in. That's why I've got him. But I wouldn't. He was a late addition as well.
Let's quickly look in the ones that we all agree with. So do we all have Sancho?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have Sterling?
Yep.
Yep. Rashford.
Yep.
Kane.
Yep.
Right. So how many positions have we got left?
I
How
have
many
two.
spots?
I have two strikers left. Here, hold on. Let me.
I've got 3 strikers. Yeah, I've got 3 strikers.
Okay, so we now have 20 players kind of locked in. So we've got 3 more positions to choose from. We haven't got any backup strikers though, so I think that's the first obvious place to go to. And I've got Calvert-Lewin as my second choice, but I also have a third. So who do you boys have as backup?
We can lock in Calvert-Lewin. I have him as my second. Leon.
Yeah, I have him as my second as well. I actually don't have a third striker. Marcus Rashford would be my third choice if the first 2 strikers went down. I think he's quite good.
I've gone. I don't rate him as much up top. I'd prefer to keep on the left. I've gone for. I guess who Mikey's gone for. Maybe I've gone for Danny Ings. No, Mikey. How have you done this?
We're gonna end up agreeing on Danny Ings because I do like Ings a lot, but I kind of went with a shot in the dark here. But you explain Ings first.
I went for Ings because I think Kane can do everything. Calvert-Lewin's good in the air, and then Ings offers something else with like his kind of pace and just unbelievable finishing and pressing and that kind of thing. I think he just offers a different option. That's why I've gone for like taking a third striker slot. Who have you gone for?
You kind of explained why I had this guy. It's actually Ollie Watkins, and the reason is because I think he also offers something else. His hold-up play is really, really good. His work rate is exceptional, which Danny Ings, I mean, it's kind of the same, but I just think he's been like clearly the better player this season. And obviously it's not just like current form, and it is more things do go into it than just like current form. But I really like Ollie Watkins. So I did want to give him a shout as my number 3 striker, but I would be okay if we had Danny Ings as number 3.
Mikey, I just want to say that I'm glad you've come round since our DCL Ings debate on the last podcast episode. If you haven't watched that, you should check it out and see why Mikey's got Calvert-Lewin instead of Ings in his Ings squad.
And I think Danny Ings is a little bit better. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of contradicting myself right now, but
I think it's a crime that Danny Ings only has 1 England cap.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, he's in my side. But
Leon would be the deciding one, I guess.
Yeah, Leon, should we leave that third spot out or?
I don't have a third striker, just as I mentioned, because Rashford will come in. But if we were determined to, as a combined list, to have a third striker, I wouldn't be bothered about it. But it would be Ings over Watkins for sure. He's got more experience against top flight centre halves and against what will be international quality centre halves, whereas Watkins obviously in his first season. And I think what Amy said about Ings, I agree with. It's just I don't think we would need him as we have Rashford, and I think Rashford's better than Ings. It's even if Rashford is better on the left, I think he's better than Ings up top.
So who's your extra player? Was it Calvin Phillips?
So the players which aren't in the locked in team, which I have, are obviously Duncan Godfrey, Reece James, Calvin Phillips, James Maddison, and yeah, I think that's it actually. Is that right? I think so.
I also have James Maddison, so I feel like we should lock him in because we have two of us 3 have him.
Go for it.
And so that leaves either Ings or somebody else for our last one.
I mean, it's
Ings. We could go for an extra centre back or an extra striker at this point. I personally would have used one. I personally would have gone for both an extra centre back and an extra striker because I don't think we need an attacking midfielder. But Maddison's locked in, and that's fine. So, who do we go for?
I think we
have to consider. Go on.
I would argue that we need an extra centre half. May I add that Calvin Phillips played centre back for the first 3-4 years of his Leeds career. So that's like a dire backup in that he can play DM and he can play centre back. Although he hasn't in recent years, so I could understand why he's maybe leaving.
Eric Dyer's played both positions for England and for Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League. I think it's a different thing.
Yeah,
I think we need to stop kind of going so much on like, oh, they've been great this season, because this is like the world stage, right? They're playing for their international team against the best of the best. I think experience is such a huge thing. You can't just chuck a load of youngsters in what is already like a young core in this squad That's why I've kind of gone for more experience where I can. So that's why I've got Eric Dyer, because he can also play at defensive midfield role. So it kind of kills two birds with one stone in that debate, a bit more so than Phillips does. But I don't know if anyone else, fancies him in their team or not.
I think Eric Dyer is too not injury prone, error prone. I think he, even in the last World Cup, I remember every time he came on the pitch, there'd be groans around wherever you were watching it, because he just wasn't good enough. And even this season for Spurs, he's been in and out of the Spurs team in the last 10 weeks or so, just because he's been so poor. And I just don't, I wouldn't want that in an England team, in the same way that I wouldn't want Tyrone Mings in the England team, because they just have too many errors in them. But my potential replacement, I would argue that Calvin Phillips would be my 23rd man, or maybe Danny Ings. But no, I think I'd argue Calvin Phillips.
I've gone Ings. Obviously, I've got Ings in my team, in my squad, and I don't have Calvin Phillips. But based on what we've got already, and the fact that I also had Dyer, I actually think we should go for Calvin Phillips over Ings, as we need more cover in that defensive midfield role, especially if you're playing a 4-2-3-1 and you've only got two at the moment. I think we need to go for him.
Mikey, what are your thoughts?
I'm fine with that. And also, worst case, if one of the center backs if two center backs got hurt, you could move Jordan Henderson to the center back role. Not that you'd want him there, but worst case.
Or Rice.
Rice,
yeah.
Or if we have Phillips. We have everyone there.
Yes.
Or, yeah.
Or Walker.
Yeah, you have options.
Well. Yeah, you can make it 3. If one of those got injured and you didn't want to play at Keane in a 2, you could just make it 3 of Walker. Right, so I can't believe you said Ben Godfrey. I still can't wrap my head around that, to be honest. I think any Everton fan would say that Keane's been better than Ben Godfrey this season, and that's just one club, let alone every English centre back available.
It's more for the versatility of it, and I also don't. I would want my players to be better 1-on-1. I think that's what Godfrey offers. But I think Godfrey as a left back is also a good shout. He played really well there when Dino was injured.
Let's go through our starting 11.
Okay.
So I'll go first. I have Pope in the back. My back 4, starting at left back, is Chilwell, Maguire, Stones, Trippier. And then I have Rice and Henderson. And then playing a 4-2-3-1, I have Phil Foden, like a left attacking midfielder, Grealish, Sancho on the right, and then Kane up top.
Cool.
So
I've got Pope in goal as well. Shaw starting left back. I think he's been better this season than Chilwell, but it's between those two for me. Oh wait, did we even have those in our squad? Anyway, this is my one.
Yeah.
This is my one. But
we do.
I've gone for Walker right back. It was kind of between Walker or Reece James for me. Maybe Trent against a team we would expect to dominate possession. That's why I think it's great to have him in the squad, because he can unlock a team like that. But I've gone for Walker, I think, over Reece James. Centre backs, Maguire and Stones. I think as much stick as Maguire gets, he's actually been through a lot of experiences now and kind of proven his character a lot, which I think massive for this team. Obviously, he's United captain. Stones has been on great form, so they're a good partnership. Defensive midfield, got Rice and Henderson, 2 captains for the club side. Vocal, great on the ball, great at breaking up play. I think that's a really good pivot, and that's going to kind of make us really sturdy coming up against better opposition. Attacking midfield, I've gone for Phil Foden. Wait, what have I done here? No, I haven't actually. I've gone for Grealish in attacking midfield down the middle, and then Sterling on the left and Sancho on the right. But this was the hardest position, because you could also have Rashford and Foden with cases for starting, obviously. But I think Grealish has to start. Sancho and Sterling are just too good. Obviously, there's a case for Rashford over Sterling. In fact, in the last video, I even said I thought Rashford was better. But they're so similar, and so for England, I would actually go for Sterling. And then also because Rashford can be a backup at striker. And then Kane up top on his own. Great centre forward for us to have. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I've gone Pope. I've started with Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, which is the third right back between the 3 of us that we've got starting. I think, and then I've gone Stones, Maguire, Shaw. The 2 defensive midfield partnership of Rice and Henderson. I think Ames encompassed it perfectly when he was talking about the fact that they'd play so well as a pivot, because they're both really good on the ball and would both sit in that midfield fantastically. And then I've gone for the same front 4 as Amesy with Sancho, Grealish, Sterling. And Kane, I think Kane is the perfect striker for us to have. I think his link-up play is fantastic as well. And I've gone with Sterling over Rashford, even though I actually think Rashford's the better player. For England, I think Sterling playing off of Kane and off of Grealish, I think he's just a better finisher. And I think Sterling will get a lot of chances on that left side with Grealish. And obviously Kane will drop a little bit deeper and Sterling run off of him, as Son does for Spurs. So I think that's why I've gone Sterling. But that is
unbelievable depth in that three, isn't there? We've got so many options.
Yeah.
And also, like off the bench, you got Mount adds something different with, he's got such a high intensity of play, and I think he had something great there. Rashford obviously coming off the bench would be amazing. Calvert-Lewin's on great form, so he could always score a goal for us. So I think we've got loads of options there. Really happy with that. Really kind of looking forward to the Euros. Can't wait for June.
Yeah. I'm gonna to put together our combined starting 11. I think we can agree on Nick Pope and the two center backs, Maguire and Stones. Luke Shaw left back, Rice and Henderson, Grealish and Kane and Sancho. We all agree on. So the two spots that are kind of up for grabs are that left wing and then the right back. But I think you both had Sterling, right?
Sterling,
yeah. So we can go Sterling there, and then right back. I had Kyle Walker.
Right back.
Yeah, I had Kyle Walker.
I had Walker. So it's my team basically.
Yeah.
Or I had a Trippier actually. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike had Trippier. Which means you kind of got to say who you'd rather start aside from your own out of the other two hosts. So for me,
it depends on the opponent.
Yeah, I agree. But say we got to go for a general starting 11. I would have.
Say we're playing France. France in a final. Who are you starting?
Oh God, that is difficult.
Cole Walker for me, and then probably followed by Trent, then by Reece James, then by Trippier. That's my four. Obviously, they won't.
I'd probably have to say Walker over Trippier. I think I'd still start Trent even against France. I think he's so good on the ball, and I think he could be the key to us unlocking the bigger teams, as he has been for Liverpool on so many occasions. But I think I would rather start Walker over Trippier in an average game and in a big game.
Brilliant.
Who would start at right wing for? At left wing. If they were playing France.
For France.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Griezmann,
Coman or Ousmane Dembele, maybe. I think Trent's got that covered. He's got to start for me.
Either way, no matter what we think, we're playing a 3-back. I reckon. That's what I reckon.
You reckon with Walker as the third centre back?
Yeah, I just think that's how he's going to play it. I can't see anything.
I think Trent would be my pick as the right wing back in a 3-back though.
I'm interested. No one mentioned Connor Cody when we were going through the squad. He obviously didn't make anyone's, but in a 3 at the back, I think he deserves a shout in the squad. But obviously, because we're playing 4, it makes sense. I've got a good stat actually. This season, in 4 at the back, Wolves have conceded 17 goals in 9 games, which is obviously atrocious. And playing 3 at the back, they've only conceded 11 in 13.
Because they concede possession so much, and if you only have 4 at the back compared to the 5, I mean, that's a lot of goals though.
Also, Cody's been playing much better in a 3 because he's kind of used to it.
Yeah, he's played there for ages in a 3 now, hasn't he? So going to a 4 is obviously a bit of a change up.
Yeah,
it's all about Willy Bolly though, anyway.
Yeah, true. I would encourage anyone kind of watching this. I know you're all thinking about shouting who your favourite players saying they should be in the team, but I'd encourage someone to basically you to try and make this yourself, your own 23-man squad. Because it's actually really interesting. Kind of players you didn't think you would make the squad will come in because you realise you need lots of depth, you need versatility, you need experience, and all these kind of things. So it kind of does change from your original thoughts. Like I would never have Eric Dyer in contention otherwise, but yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, leave your replies in the comments or what you think in the comments, and you should back up your thoughts with some reasoning as well if you are going to disagree.
I'd like to see everyone's like reasoning behind their opinion to say. Actually, interestingly, none of us mentioned Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and none of us had Aaron Wan-Bissaka, which is a really big omission. That's just come to my head. So if you're thinking Wan-Bissaka definitely has to be in the side, I'd like to know why you think so much ahead of any of the right backs that we mentioned. But yeah, I'd like to know everyone's reasoning for things rather than just who they think should and shouldn't be in the squad.
Yeah, if you agree that Ben Godfrey should be in the squad, please comment below.
Just give this video a like if you think Ben Godfrey should be in the squad.
Whoa. Don't say that. You're going to get bombarded with dislikes. Or if you think he shouldn't be in the squad, also give it a like. Yeah.
Just like it, whatever. Well, thanks for watching. Also, give our new Twitter a follow, Mid-Table Talk. There will be a TikTok account coming up soon, but I set it up under Matchday 365 and I can't change the username for 30 days, which is slightly annoying, but that'll be, there may be you maybe follow the Matchday 365 TikTok now, which Mikey probably didn't even know existed until now.
No, we'll get that. Once this video gets pushed out, we should have the TikTok with me.
It should be ready. So.
About to, so yeah. Give us
so follow us on socials and thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Also,
see you boys next week.
Leave a comment if you have any ideas for kind of next week's podcast or anything.